Welcome to a Halloween episode of What Is This Weapon? With something that I like to keep handy for close encounters. Yes, so this is obviously a pump-action shotgun. The reference at the beginning, hopefully you recognized that. That's right, this is another movie-associated episode. Tying into Halloween, we were having a bit of a chat amongst the team. What is the most iconic horror firearm? And actually that was harder than you might think, or it was for us anyway. I sort of settled on this. This is the Ithaca Model 37 shotgun, 12 bore, 12 gauge of the bore, might be an even more correct way to say it, but literally no one says that. Let's not get into those weeds. It's kind of cheating because it's the sort of thing, I guess like an MP5, that shows up in all sorts of things because police carry it, notably. Lots of other users as well, you know, farmers, mums. This could show up in all sorts of contexts. So whenever a horror movie happens, situationally, there may well be an Ithaca 37 somewhere in the background, or a Remington 870, or a Mossberg 500, or any number of other shotguns. But I think this might take the cake for featuring in more horror movies than any other single type of shotgun. We have lots of double barrel shotguns, of course. I'm thinking Army of Darkness, of course, there. But the Stoger coach gun, I don't think you'll find that in that many movies. Generic 12 bore side-by-side shotguns, yes. The Stoger coach gun, probably up there with things like Westerns. This might be the horror firearm. But please discuss and debate and argue. You say the same for numerous revolvers, various other weapons as well. There aren't too many individually iconic horror firearms, but I will give my justification for this. But first, we should explain what this is. It's kind of deserving of an episode in its own right anyway. The Ithaca 37, so 37 for 1937, Ithaca for the town in New York State. This one is marked DS Police Special. So DS is Deer Slayer. Police Special is a variant below that. So this configuration with a slightly tighter bore, I believe, and these rifle-esque sights, so adjustable with a slide and a spring-style notch rear sight. And at the front, this very high visibility, triangular, translucent orange polymer sight. So quick to pick up, but also quite precise because this was designed originally for solid slugs. So a slightly tighter bore, slightly more precise, not rifled. The slug itself would be rifled so that it does rotate in flight. So not a rifled bore, but a more precision shotgun shooting solid slug intended for deer hunting, hence Deer Slayer, or DS as they've abbreviated it on here. And then it was discovered that police like to use 12 gauge solid slug quite a lot, the 1970s, 80s in particular. This one is mid to late 70s. And so the Police Special comes in, which is this particular sub-variant. Its hunting heritage is evident though, because it has these fairly roughly engraved duck flying scenes on the sides of the receiver. Well, duck on this side, I think I'm right in saying. And what looks like pheasant with a pointed dog on this side. So conceived as a hunting shotgun. Actually a John Moses Browning design from 1915, patent from 1915. Produced by Remington as the Model 17, and then when the patents had expired by 1937, picked up by Ithaca, and they never look back. It's made to this very day. It's known as being robust and reliable. And I guess the key feature of that patent for the user is no ejection port on the left or the right. Some do have them on the left, typically on the right. You are both loading and ejecting from the port on the bottom. So you are halving the chance of sort of dirt ingress or foreign bodies getting in there, whatever, and jamming up the gun. Quite a nice idea. And I guess reducing machining operations as well to make the gun cheaper. You're not having to mill out ports in either side. Quite a good ID feature if you're spotting guns in movies or whatever. If it's this slab-sided design with no ejection port, you can be pretty sure it's an Ithaca, because the earlier design was not made in nearly such high numbers as this. Over 2 million of these made to date, probably significantly over 2 million, I would guess. It is, of course, a pump action, and you get that iconic sound, which again lends itself to, well, any movie really, but horror movies as well. So police will be responding with these, but there are a couple of important movies where this becomes a bit more featured, and that's why I've chosen it today. The main one is Aliens. So for me anyway, first time I remember seeing this gun and looking at what it was, and turns out it's the Ithaca 37. It's an antique in space in 2179, I think it's supposed to be in Aliens. So Hicks, I guess our hero Marine, our most prominent survivor of at least at first, of the movie Aliens.
I'd like to keep this handy for close encounters.
They've got these high-tech weapons. Admittedly, they're like Thompsons in disguise, but the smart gun MG42 in disguise. But they're meant to be these high-tech weapons. This thing is visibly old school. I'm sure it's why there's a pump-action shotgun in the Doom games, and perhaps why they keep showing up in a sci-fi context in video games as well. Usually much more futuristic looking than this. Halo, the pump is always there to slow down your reload, give you a bit of tension as you're moving around, and it does the same thing in the movies and actually in TV as well. Now, Hicks's gun is quite different to this. This bit's the same. When he says close encounters, his version has the barrel cut down and the buttstock removed and replaced with a pistol grip. Now, that was something that was done in Vietnam for the Navy SEALs with the Ithaca 37. Instinct would have said that's where James Cameron's got the idea, because he's got this Vietnam in space subtext going on. He wants the Navy SEAL shotgun in his movie. Actually, it's more complicated than that. Bapty & Co., who did the guns for Aliens, did a lot of guns for TV, and this particular prop, which you can find pictures of, we'll link to this on the prop store website. It's been sold, I don't know where it is now. That has an MP40 submachine gun pistol grip grafted onto it. Made for the professionals, the TV series, 70s series, The Professionals. It's hard to see that there'd be a Vietnam inspiration there, but maybe somebody saw something about the SEALs in a news report or something. Seems unlikely. I think it's coincidence. They wanted a short pump gun for this cop show, so they wanted a pistol grip on it. So they got an old MP40 receiver, cut it down, and grafted it on, making it look quite distinctive and a little bit more sci-fi. So that wasn't the purpose. They wanted it for the professionals. It was then in Dempsey and Makepeace, another cop series in the UK, and then it gets cast. It gets its big Hollywood moment in Aliens, stuffed on Hicks's back, very notably shoved into the mouth of a xenomorph, and it's able to, I guess because they're softer on the inside, blow out the back of its big head and have an effect. We don't see it after that, so maybe it gets melted by acid or something. So it works for close encounters. It kind of speaks to the survival of the pump-action 12-gauge shotgun. It's low-tech, really. These things have been around since the mid-19th century. They probably will be around in 200 years' time. Whether any soldier would still be carrying one, I mean, you have the XM26 breaching shotgun under barrel that's in American service currently. There are a couple of services that have adopted pump-action guns recently, typically for breaching. The manual operation allows you to switch ammunition, so if it's primarily for breaching, that's fine. You don't need a quick action, a self-loading action. And then if you do need to switch out different types of ammunition, you know they're going to run because it's your muscle power that's running the gun. So although it's kind of obsolete for fighting purposes and for kind of practical shooting competition purposes as well, all these applications use semi-auto shotguns. It's still around, it's still going to be around. This is an 8-shot magazine tube, gives movie makers a bit to play with. Not that they usually care in the 70s, 80s, 90s about capacity, but if someone pumps more than 5 rounds out of their pump action, that's fine. This thing takes 8 rounds, so I guess that factors in a little bit. I should say as well, I always like the idea that a future soldier would have some family heirloom as a still practical weapon. It's a cool idea. I also think that Vasquez, her pistol, I think the same would apply there. It's not in the script or anything, but the fact she shows up with a Smith & Wesson self-loading pistol with ivory grips that just looks 20th century, I think that's another deliberate choice. And let's be honest, you know, if someone went into combat today with a Luger, yes, they'd get some funny looks. Yes, it would only be 8 rounds, but it does the same job as a modern pistol. So both of those weapons in that movie are plausible enough for me. Ironic, really, that the standard issue pistol is a pistol from 1970, the HK VP70. But the idea was no one had really seen it outside of gun nerds like me, and so it was plausible as a futuristic-looking pistol. But quite an iconic weapon from that film, and it shows up in a number of others. So if you're thinking, I'm going to come back to some sci-fi in a moment, but what cements this as a sort of horror movie gun for me is the presence of Halloween 2. If you check out IMFDB, excellent site, you will see where these various types of guns have appeared. And I was scanning down there for, I guess, more traditional horror movies, and Halloween 2 is in there. Now, I think that's just in the hands of police. If we then, and this is really where it comes from, I think the origin for Aliens as well, the Terminator movies. So it's in T2. I think, again, that's in the background. But the original Terminator movie, 1984, 2 years before Aliens, also played by Michael Biehn, we have Kyle Reese coming back from the future to save humanity, and he tries to get hold of a gun, and for some reason thinks that a shotgun is a good idea against a big metal killing machine. Questionable, but okay, we'll go with it. And here, maybe it's the easiest thing. What else is he going to get? He's going to have a revolver he could take from a police officer, not great, or a shotgun. So maybe it's a necessity thing. Anyway. So he captures one, cuts down the buttstock, puts it on a cord, a single point, a jerry-rigged single point sling under his questionably clean overcoat, and is able to conceal it that way. And that's a bit of a hero weapon for a fair chunk of the film. And then the T-800 himself gets hold of one as well and uses it briefly too. So both our antagonist and the first protagonist that we meet in Terminator, the first one, are using this gun. And that's probably where Cameron gets the idea to reprise that thought with Michael Biehn again, with an Ithaca 37 cut down again, only he has to sort of justify it being in the future by being a family heirloom. Another straight-up horror movie this thing shows up in is Saw. One of my favorite horror movies, I have to say. You can say what you like about the sequels. First one is absolutely incredible and incredibly low budget as well. And our 2 main police protagonists in that movie are both armed with these, in a fairly memorable scene where they go hunting Jigsaw in his lair, armed with these things. So not just background police weapons, but kind of hero weapons. They don't do them any good, but it's there. Another prominent appearance and a bona fide horror movie and a sci-fi is The Thing, 1982. Ithaca 37 is in that. Look out for it in that movie. Genuinely excellent film. I even quite like the prequel film of inexplicably the same name. That's worth a look as well, but the first one is a true classic. And still in the 1980s, 1987, with an Aliens connection, weirdly enough, Bill Paxton. In fact, Bill Paxton's in the Terminator, in Aliens, and in this movie, Near Dark. One of the great vampire movies of all time, I would say. Underrated, and one of the baddies has got an Ithaca 37 pump shotgun. Vampires don't typically need firearms, but hey, they often do have them anyway, and that's one of them. Recommend that film for Halloween, 100%.
Check out time.
So the last of the movies I'm going to list that features this is one I haven't seen, which some of the comments will probably be horrified at, and that's They Live. It's on my list, still haven't got around to seeing it, and I think the main character uses the 37 in that film. Then we have a bit of TV as well. So The Walking Dead, and at least one episode of The Last of Us, so we've got to get some zombies in there as well, and several seasons of Supernatural, apparently. I never did watch that series, but kind of horror adjacent at the very least, and this thing is in there. Now, some of this, as I say, is because the thing is just so ubiquitous, but it also seems to gravitate toward appearing in horror. Games-wise, not so common. A couple of Resident Evil games, one mainline one and one spin-off, I think. Blood Rain shows up in there under, I think, a legally different name. Again, if you're keep your eyes peeled if you're interested. If you have this slick side, it's the shotgun in your game has probably been inspired by the Ithaca. There aren't too many out there that don't do the traditional ejection port on the side. Now, Supernatural fans, please correct me, including some of my friends. Please correct me if I get this wrong, but there's a weird trope of shotgun ownership in history, I guess, that for defending property, you load it with rock salt. No one professional recommends that, but it has apparently been done historically as a sort of less lethal way to deter people.
Yep. There's nobody a badass double dose of rock salt.
Because it's manually operated, you don't need a conventional ammunition to cycle it. You can shoot anything you like out of it. Coins, it's just reminding me of The Crow, where the rings are shot out of the coins, and also people put all sorts of things in fiction down shotguns, and that's a feature of the Supernatural shotgun, which is apparently modified, and it's shooting salt. As I guess it's part of folklore magic that like a circle of salt can protect you. So I guess you shoot demons and ghosts with salt. That sort of has the same effect.
If it is a spirit, buckshot won't do much good.
Yeah, rock salt.
Salt being a spirit deterrent.
Yep.
It won't kill him, but it'll slow him down. That's pretty good.
Classic kind of media taking from folklore and twisting it to their own needs, really. There we go. Is the Ithaca Model 37 the most iconic horror firearm of all time? I'm sure there'll be some people that disagree with me on that one. I'm going for quantity and quality with that pick, I think. But feel free to comment down below with your thoughts on that. It's not quite the same question as like iconic sci-fi weapons. You know, we could be here all day trying to argue, and we have done to argue that, or even zombie slaying weapons or vampire slaying weapons. Anything specific like that is a great basis for a pub argument or a discussion. What's the most iconic firearm in horror? I think that's more of a discussion, so feel free to have that. Thanks for watching, guys. Please remember to do the usual YouTube stuff of liking and subscribing and all of that. We have a video here on this channel every week. You'll see me over on the EXP channel too. As to what's happening here at the museum in the real world, we have, starting on the 25th of October, we have half-term weekend, Roman Tales. That's the event going on here at Leeds. Please do come and check that out if you're able to do that. Also, last chance to see our Gladiators exhibition with some pretty spectacular objects in there. No guns, I'm afraid, but some very exciting arms and armour and some other items as well. That's closing on the 2nd of November, so you need to move a bit quick if you're going to get in on that one. Otherwise, guys, we'll see you here again next week.
Hi, my name is Ashley Levinsky. I am a firearms historian, former curator of the Cody Firearms Museum, and also a founding member of the Center for the Study of Arms History. And I wanted to hop on here really quick to discuss two exciting research opportunities for those who are early on in their career studying the history, technology, or culture of arms. The Center for the Study of Arms History, in partnership with the Cody Firearms Museum, as well as Armament Research Services, is inviting applications for 2 fellowships to support original, hands-on research in the arms and munitions field. The first one is the Aries Emerging Experts Fellowship. This fellowship offers $1,000 in funding for travel, field work, or archival study in the next year. And this is for early career scholars or recent postgraduates who are studying arms and munitions anywhere between 1800 and the present day. Now, the fellow is encouraged to produce a publishable or other public-facing output that's based on that research. The second is the Cody Firearms Museum Early Career Fellowship, and this provides $1,500 in funding for emerging professionals to carry on short-term in-person research at the world-class Cody Firearms Museum in Wyoming. And this is open to those with fewer than 3 years of experience, but that's not limiting to someone who is maybe transitioning mid-career or someone that wants to professionalize their expertise that they already have. And this fellow's work may be featured in a range of outlets, including museum programming, as a guest speaker at the Arsenals of History Symposium, or as a published author in the peer-reviewed journal Armax. Now, both fellowships share the same application deadline, November 30th. If you are interested in applying, check out armshistory.org.
Heightens my sense of security.